so have a seat. Well, you might have wondered why there are no classes next Monday, especially given the fact that other local schools do have classes on Columbus Day. And I did a little bit of looking into this a few years ago when I discovered that Wellesley had classes on Columbus Day. It turned out they did it by paying a small fine to the town of Wellesley. And I asked, why doesn't Harvard pay a fine to the city of Cambridge and hold classes on this annoying holiday? And the answer I got was, Harvard asked about doing this and was told you couldn't afford the fine. But it's always a tricky issue when we have sections on Monday to decide what to do about this. And my understanding of the law was that it was okay to have optional classes on Monday. So that's the way we've done it. And then after getting an explicit inquiry from one of the CAs, I looked up the law, which you saw in the email, which says that no business in Massachusetts can operate before noon on Columbus Day. So I figure we're safe in the afternoon as long as I don't discriminate against any, if someone on the staff, for example, is president of the local council of Knights of Columbus and needs to take the day off, I have to honor this. So I did a little more looking into what's responsible for this. If you're from around here, you know the term blue laws, and these were instituted initially in colonial Massachusetts, where the Puritans, who were rather intolerant fundamentalists, cracked down on everyone and made them observe the Sabbath. This got extended to other holidays, and it even got extended to Columbus Day, which was established in 1937. Is there anyone who knows either or both of the two states where Columbus Day is not observed? Anyone want to guess? Hawaii, yes. In Hawaii, Columbus Day is not observed, but instead it's observed as a holiday commemorating the Polynesians' discovery of the Hawaiian Islands. And the other place it's not observed is South Dakota, where presumably the Sioux are never that keen on Columbus. There it's celebrated as Indigenous Peoples Day, a holiday which is also observed in Berkeley, California. So, since this is the legacy of the Puritans, I did a little bit of research. My wife edits the Journal of the Rhode Island Genealogical Society and is always bad-mouthing colonial Massachusetts, because Rhode Island, interestingly, is, at least my wife so claims, the first political entity in the history of mankind to make religious tolerance official government policy. And that's because Roger Williams couldn't get along with the authorities in Massachusetts, went off to Rhode Island and did things his own way. And the Puritans were, they were the sect that is now known as Congregationalists, but it was very much state religion. And they cracked down on people. And the most famous way in which they cracked down on people, of course, was by having witch trials. So I found this wonderful transcript of a witch trial. This poor woman, you could probably, some of you in the class might identify her. Some of the testimony against her. She has created an image of a linear transformation in direct violation of the commandment, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. What else did this woman do? She has been seen writing satanic symbols, perversions of capital letters that are claimed to resolve issues of existence. She has carried out calculations in a mathematical system where 3 and 1 are equal, which is repugnant to the doctrine of the Holy Trinity. She has inverted matrices on the Sabbath day. She has claimed knowledge of sets whose members are more numerous than all the descendants of Abraham. And when challenged, she referred to these members as, quote, real. So they had to decide what to do with her. And one suggestion was to put her in the stock of the Puritans. The Puritans were really into stocks. Another was to hang her. Another was to tie her up, drop her in a pond, and see if she floats, which I thought was a standard test for witches. But eventually, they found a punishment that was worse than any of these things. She was exiled to New Haven. So, and in fact, the phrase, "till the stock of the Puritans dies," came up in my mind while I was thinking about Columbus Day. And that's because for 4 years I did commencement with the Harvard Band, and I guess we did actually sing all 4 verses of Fair Harvard. So I happen to know this phrase. And I looked at this, and as you saw in my email, there's some highly appropriate stuff in there. "To thy children the lesson still give." Clearly, that means the Puritans wanted us to hold sections on Columbus Day to eliminate that moss-covered error in your homework. So I thought it would be nice if we do a class rendition of the last verse of Fair Harvard. And if you look at the first 2 verses, you see they just can't be sung anymore. "Fair Harvard, thy sons to thy jubilee throng." You can't do that. And the second verse is even worse. "We were molded to manhood by thee." But the last verse is gender neutral. And what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to switch off the microphone so we can have a Bravo. And your next assignment is, I have a 4-part Anglican chant arrangement of some of the exam rules. So I'm going to need a soprano, a tenor, and an alto for the final exam, so we can sing the rules that explain the complicated things that happen if you become sick during the exam.